even when someone gets old and their mind starts to deteriorate, that they can still see the Four Noble Truths?
Yes, because the Four Noble Truths is not in the body, it's in the mind. So the mind sees things that appears in the mind. So when you get dukkha, you stress, when you're stressful, it's in your mind, not in your body. And if you have mindfulness, you'll see that right now I'm stressful. And you start to investigate, and you'll find that the cause of your stress is because of your desire, your expectation, or your want, you want something, and when you feel that you cannot get what you want, you feel stressful. Okay, like you don't want to get sick, for instance. When you get sick, you feel stressful because you don't want to get sick. You see this in your mind, and then you also know if you want to get rid of the stress, you can do that by using samadhi and wisdom. Samadhi is to stop your mind from craving, desiring, and wisdom is to tell your mind that to crave is to create stress. So you have to stop craving for things. This you see them automatically right away in your mind if you keep practicing mindfulness. Mm-hmm. Right now your mind goes outside, you see things, you see people, so you don't see what's going on in your mind. But when you start to develop mindfulness, you start pulling the mind back inside. So you'll start to see the inner activity, the mental activity that you normally don't see, because you keep seeing the external activity. So the externality comes through the body. You need the body to see, to hear things. And sometimes the body faculty could deteriorate. You will not be able to see things clearly, your eyes blurry, your ears not picking up the sound, and your brain might not be functioning as good as when you're younger. So you might not, your body will not be able to do things like it used to do before. But your mind is still different. Your mind doesn't deteriorate with the body. So you can always see the inner activities of the body, of the mind, if you use mindfulness to pull your mind away from the body. When you meditate, you're pulling your mind away from the body. Bring it inside. So when it comes inside, you'll start to see the four nama khandhas. See sanya, vedana, sankhara, and vijnana. And you see how they work together. And you understand when you have stress, you understand it's because of your cravings or your desire. So you see this all inside your mind. But first you have to bring your mind back inside first. Right now you keep looking at other things outside. So you don't see the real cause of your problem, which is inside your mind. Okay? So no matter how old you are, you can still study the Four Noble Truths. See the Four Noble Truths. If you have the tool, and the tool is mindfulness and wisdom that you have to learn to develop.
Thank you.
Okay? All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn, for your teaching. So we, for the last few years, your teaching helped us to change our life.
Can you speak a bit louder?
Sorry. Thank you, Ajahn, for your teachings. So since COVID, so we have been following your teaching. So it's changed our life. Thank you for all the teachings. Thank you. And today we are here with the group from Australia and some from UK, and we are from New Zealand. Our group leader was admitted to the hospital this morning, so for a medical event. So nevertheless, we have some questions from our group. So could you please explain how the meditation practice and Dhamma knowledge gained in one's lifetime would carry over to the next lifetime, how it works?
In order for you to carry it over in your next lifetime, you have to achieve Sotapanna level. That's when it will be installed in your mind. Otherwise, it will be still outside of your mind. It still be in your memory, which after a certain length of time, this memory could be gone. So you have to try to not just study alone. Study is only merely memory. You have to apply what you study in your practice. Once you have practice, you actually will be installing the Dhamma into your mind. And then it will go with your mind after you die. So usually you need to have achieved the level of a Sotapanna to never forget the Four Noble Truths or the three characteristics of existence. Otherwise, you can forget it after a few years if you don't think about it. So after you die, who knows when will you come back as a human again? And by that time, maybe hundreds of years or more. Then what you have learned through memory will be forgotten. So you have to establish it in your mind by doing the practice. Practice mindfulness to get to jhana first. Once you can get to jhana, this jhana will go with you. And after you have jhana, then you try to see everything as the three characteristics of existence. And see that your dukkha is caused by your craving, by your desire. And when you can stop your cravings and see the cessation of dukkha in real time, like when you're sick. When you go to a doctor and the doctor say you got terminal cancer, normally you would feel very grief-stricken. You will be very sad. But if you apply the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics, you say, well, this is the way the body is. It's anicca, anatta. It's not me. It's not something I can control. If I don't want to have any dukkha, I just have to accept it. So you accept it. Let the body get killed by the disease, but your mind will not be stricken with grief, and you will feel happy. Then this will go with you into your next life. You have to see it in real time in practicing. Right now we're talking about dukkha as like a theory or something. We haven't yet seen it, feel it. But when we get sick or when we're about to die, then we can see dukkha coming up into your mind. And if you want to have cessation of dukkha, you have to apply wisdom and samadhi, which is jhana and the three characteristics of existence. Once you can see the body as anicca, anatta, then you know you cannot stop it or prevent it. Then you just have to accept it. And if you have jhana, your mind will be strong enough to accept it. But if you haven't have any jhana yet, your mind will be resisting by the kilesa, by the defilement. So you will not be able to see the Four Noble Truths clearly yet. So you can still forget. But if you can apply the Dhamma teaching to stop your cravings and see the cessation of dukkha when you have stopped your craving, then this will be forever implanted in your mind. You will never forget. You know that from now on, when you feel bad, it's not anybody's fault but your own fault. It's your own defilement, your craving. So instead of trying to go fix, arrange, make do with, talk with other people about stopping your stress, you will stop your stress by calming your mind. Get rid of your cravings instead. Okay?
Yeah.
Clear enough?
Yeah, thank you.
So you have to practice.
Yeah.
You sooner or later you will have this examination coming up, this test of your learning, whether you'll pass the test or not. When you get sick,
Yeah. Yes.
see how you can cope with it. If you can cope with it without having any qualm, then yes, then you see the Four Noble Truths. You see the three characteristics of existence.
Okay. Thank you. May I ask another question?
Sure,
Thangadan?
sure. In Spanish, you want?
Yeah. How does karma interact with our meditation practice?
Well,
Previous,
karma
yeah.
affect your mind after you die. See, when you're alive, you have strong enough mindfulness to steer your mind to go whichever direction you want to go. But once you die, once the body dies, you are in a dream mode, like when you go to sleep. And when you go to sleep, your mind can create all types of dreams, good dreams and bad dreams, for you to experience. And according to the law of karma, your bad dreams are the result of your bad karma. And your good dreams are the result of your good karma. So when you die, if you have strong good karma than bad karma, then you have good karma driven your dreams. So you'll be in a happy dream all the time. This is called heaven, sukhati. But if your bad karma is stronger than your good karma, then your bad karma will be the one to create the bad dreams for you to experience. And this is called abhaya. So this is what the karma will affect the mind after the body dies.
Mm-hmm.
And also after you finish with your karma and you get a new birth, your good karma will give you a good birth, while your bad karma will give you a bad birth. That's why we have people who are well off and who are poor. One of the cause of this is the good or bad karma that one had performed in the past. So if you have a good life, it probably means that you have a good karma in the past to give you the good life now. If you have a bad life, it means it's your bad karma that made you to have this bad life. But it's something you cannot stop because it's already happened in the past. What you can prevent is in the future. If you want to have a better life, a good life, try to do good karma more than bad karma. And if you don't want to return and reborn, then you have to stop your cravings by practice meditation. So this is what will happen to our mind after we die. So the Buddha teaches the three ways. Do good, avoid doing bad karma, so you don't have to have bad birth next time. Do only good karma, so if you should still reborn, you will have good birth. And if you don't want to return at all, then you have to purify the mind by the practice of mindfulness, wisdom, and samadhi. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Thangadan. Thank you. Yeah.
And the body in the back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much merit to you, Ajahn.
Please speak louder and closer to the microphone.
Much merit to you, Ajahn, and the technical team working here to spread the beautiful Dhamma to the world for so many years. Thank you. My question, extension of what Anura was asking, Jarati Dukkha, to have the full confidence on the Four Noble Truths. Someone might argue not to have the confidence. Someone might argue, okay, there are technical or medical developments in the currently developing in the world where you can temporarily suppress pain and any physical agony developing while in the final stages of life. How would you counter that sort of argument, Ajahn? What would you say? I mean, knowing that it is all temporary and what we are talking about here is a permanent solutions.
Can you hear what he said? I couldn't quite understand. Can you please? I'm sorry. Maybe you speak a bit soft.
Yeah, I think Prem was asking that the extension to what I've asked. So recent medical developments and all the new technologies may suppress the pain and then how with Four Noble Truths in mind, how one can have that confidence in Four Noble Truths when there are medical developments to suppress the pain and the suffering temporarily. So Prem is asking, what's your what do you do? How do you counter that argument? So
the medical development can only
Yeah.
suppress your physical pain, but it cannot suppress your anxiety, worry, or fear. No matter how developed the medical science is, it cannot prevent death. It cannot stop sickness. So the dukkha that arises from the fear of aging, sickness, and death will still remain. This will not change. You can only suppress your fear of aging, sickness, and death by the Four Noble Truths, understanding the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence. You have to accept the truth of the body, that it is anicca. It's going to have to get old, get sick, and die. And if you don't want to have any stress or suffering or anxiety, you just have to accept this fact and not try to resist. Our resistance to aging, sickness, and death is the cause of our fear, of our anxiety, of our stress. So we have to learn to suppress our resistance by practicing meditation. Make the mind calm, keep the mind calm and not reacting with cravings. When there are no reaction with cravings, then there will be no dukkha in the mind, no stress in the mind. But we cannot prevent the aging sickness of the body. Even the Buddha could not stop the aging sickness of his body. But he could stop his stress regarding this aging sickness and death. So it doesn't matter which kind of medicine you develop. You might suppress the sickness of the body, but you cannot prevent the mind from not having any stress, because the mind knows that sooner or later the body is going to die anyway. Unless you have some way that can keep the body living forever, not dying. Then maybe the Four Noble Truths won't work then. Because you change the law of anicca. Right now the law of anicca is unchangeable. So you have to go change the law. Maybe you can get enough voices in the parliament to vote for you.
another question.
Yeah, you have to speak close to the.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thank
good.
you for that. I'm sure that's what it is. The departure of the
Yeah, speak loudly, please.
Okay, the mind and the body separation in the final death of one's passing away, the vijnana taking life, another form of life. Do you say that there is a gap, time gap? And that's number one. And of course, we know that the next birth depends on the karma that you have accumulated, or in this life or previous lives, and whatever. And also the last moment thoughts, one's final thoughts before you pass away. Which one takes priority? Is there any kind of strict rule, or is there any experience or anything mentioned in the suttas?
Well,
The
the one that will have effect on your mind on the last, during your last thoughts are your good or bad karma that you have accumulated while you're still alive. This will be the driving force to give you the last right thought, the last thought. So it's a summation of your good or bad karma, whichever one is stronger. If your summation of your good karma is stronger, you will have good thoughts and you'll go to a heavenly realm of existence. If the summation of your karma is bad karma, then you will have bad thoughts, and you will go and take birth in the realm of the undesirable realm of existence. Okay, concerning the the four Namakanda, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. This go with the mind, it's part of the mind. And it continues to work even without the body. That is the one that been driven by the good or bad karma to create good or bad dreams for you to experience. So this is the one that will be the one to create good realm or bad realm of existence, depending on the good or bad karma as the driving force. The good karma will drive the sankhara to generate good story for you to experience. The bad karma will force the sankhara to create bad story for you to experience, bad dreams, until it no longer have the strength. Then you come back and take a human birth.
Thank you. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay.
Thank you.
So try to do good karma and try to stop doing bad karma.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody else? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ajahn. Can I ask, usually after death, how many days do we take rebirth? Number one.
Which rebirth you're talking about? Human?
Human, whatever rebirth, someone dies and then says he come back as a human. Come back as a human. Usually we say it's 49 days.
No, much longer than that. It depends on how much you have to go and pay your good or bad karma debt first. Yeah. So it can be many years before you can return as a human being.
So to speak, if he's enjoying him or herself in heaven, so he can take many eons to come back.
That's right.
Okay.
So that same way when you're in hell, you can be experiencing a long time also. It depends on how much good or bad karma you have done.
Okay. Thank you. The next question is, one second. Conscious. When you talk about rebirth, when the mother is pregnant, when does the fetus has life? The minute the mother has got what you call a conception, there's life in the fetus already, or the fetus is living but there's no life, meaning they say that there is no, how do you use the word, karma or whatever is in that baby, in the fetus.
In order for conception to take place, you need three factors to combine together. The mother's part, the father's part, and the spiritual part. When they come and assemble together, that's when conception will start.
But there's already a life in this fetus in the womb. There's a life, meaning that says that someone has already rebirth or reborn in that mother's womb already.
So the process of life starts at conception.
But the life starts there.
At conception.
Okay.
And it starts to grow until the body becomes too big for the womb, then it gets ejected and birth takes place.
And last question is, when there's life, what goes into life? Is it consciousness or what gets into the mother's womb? You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't get in there. It's just like a phone, two phones connected through radio signals. The mind is in a spiritual world. It sends its psychic stream of knowing to attach to the body in the womb. The mind doesn't go inside the womb itself. It lives in a different dimension. The mind is in a spiritual world, but it can connect with the body through vijnana. So you have vijnana that connects to the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. And this is the one that connects the mind with the body at conception.
Okay. That's it. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you,
Okay.
Uncle. Anybody?
Okay, just bring it back here then. Anybody else from your group would like to ask question? Because okay, that's it.
I want to ask, when I meditation, suddenly I cannot feel my breath, and naturally I push my breath to stronger and stronger, and At that time, I think I cannot breathe, and I'm very, very tired and very hard to breathe.
This is a wrong way to meditate. The way we use the breath is just to keep watching it. Don't force your breath. Don't control your breath. Leave your breath alone. Just keep watching it.
So how when I feel I cannot feel my breath?
Then just be aware that you cannot feel your breath, and just keep watching at the same point. Watch the emptiness of breath instead.
But at that time, I'm scared.
If you're scared, then maybe you have to use Bhutto to stop your fear. Recite Bhutto. Or tell yourself that you're not going to die because you cannot feel your breath. Because your breath is very, very slow, very subtle, and you cannot feel it. But it doesn't mean that there's no breathing.
Okay.
Nobody dies from meditating, watching the breath. So don't worry about it. Just be mindful and keep your mind calm. Just keep watching. Keep watching your reaction to the situation. Whether you are afraid or you're trying to do something, you have to stop every reaction.
Okay.
Just be merely watching, just like before when there was breath. Just keep watching. So there's no breath, you also keep watching that there is no breath. That's all. And then if you can focus or watch, maybe not long enough, your mind will suddenly stop and become peaceful and calm.
Okay, thank you, Brother. The second question is about fasting. Now I can fasting for 1 day. For the another step, can I practice for fasting for 2 days?
Yes, you can practice as many days you want if your body is not affected by your fasting. But if your body starts to become affected, maybe you get stomach ache or something, then maybe you have to stop and come back and eat. But if the body acts normally, don't get sick, then you can continue fasting as long as you like.
Okay. So when I practice fasting for 2 days, it means I fasting for 2 days and eating for 2 days, or I fasting for 2 days and eating for 1 day.
You can choose the formula you like.
Okay, thank you, Brother.
Whichever method that makes you practice better. The goal is to use your fasting to support your meditation practice. The fasting itself is not the practice of meditation. It's just a support. It helps you practice better. It prevents you from getting lazy, getting sleepy. Because normally if you eat, you will become lazy, you become sleepy. So instead of meditating, you'll be sleeping instead. So when you're fasting, your mind becomes alert and hungry. So you cannot go to sleep or feel drowsy.
So for now, I cannot sleep for 4 hours a day. I think a day I sleep about 6 hours. It means my mindfulness is not stronger.
You mean sleeping?
Yes.
I don't know the reason why, but it doesn't matter how many hours you sleep. It depends on the need of your body. If your body is very tired, it will sleep longer. If it's not tired, it will sleep less. So don't worry about the sleeping.
Okay.
The less you sleep, the better.
Okay.
So you have more time to meditate. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
If we are sick from a brain disease caused by an accident, and it makes me unable to control my stress and have to rely on medicine all the time to live a normal life. And this disease make it impossible to find happiness in life and very hard to find peace of mind. And many times it is suffering and affecting people around me, including myself. How can I find peace and happiness?
You have to increase your mindfulness. The more mindfulness you have, then the more will be easy for you to calm your mind, to make your mind peaceful and calm. So you need to practice more mindfulness by either reciting a mantra, Bhutto, Bhutto, all the time during your waking hours, or watch your breath when you're lying down, or sitting and not doing anything. Then keep watching your breath at the tip of your nose. Try to reduce the amount of thinking as much as possible. Then you'll find some peace of mind and be able to live happily even though the body might be sick.
I have a practice question about my meditation. I have some difficulties breathing, like some blockage in the chest and the stomach. Do you have any tips or suggestions to how to work on this?
Does this happen only when you meditate?
So
Does this condition happen only when you meditate
no, all the time.
all the time?
Yeah.
Then you have to go see a doctor for
Okay. Yes, it sounds serious.
that. Well, I don't know because I can only deal with the mental situation.
Right.
If you have mental problem every time you meditate and you cannot use the breath, then you have to use some other method. Like you can use a mantra, Bhutto, Bhutto, or you can do some chanting, or you can do the 32 parts of the body
Okay.
as a means of concentrating your mind and make your mind calm.
Right.
You can use this method. If you find that every time you watch your breath and you have difficulty breathing, then maybe watching the breath is not for you. Then
Okay.
you can try the mantra, Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto. Or if you want it to be longer, you can say Bhutto, Dhammo, Sangho.
Right.
Or even longer, you can maybe do some chanting. You can, if you know some chant. This will prevent your mind from thinking, and it will calm your mind down to a certain level. And after your mind becomes more calm, then maybe you might be able to watch your breath. You can then try to look at your breath again. And if there's no problem, then you can use the watching the breath until you calm your mind completely.
Okay. So try a different approach before and then
Yes.
maybe come to the breath
That's
later.
eventually.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
And you should try to practice this all the time, even when you're not meditating. When you're walking, when you're doing something, try to use the mantra to prevent your mind from thinking. Then you'll find it easy to meditate. Okay.
The question is, what happens to the chitta when a person becomes enlightened? Does this chitta die, or it becomes like eternal? When you don't need to be reborn again, what happens to the chitta?
The chitta is purified, clean, like your clothes that you wear. When you wash your clothes, what happens to your clothes? They become clean, right? And your clothes still remain. It doesn't disappear with the cleaning, right? That's the way the mind is. Your mind, my mind right now is dirty. So we need to clean it with Dhamma practice. Once we clean the mind is still there in the same place, in the spiritual world, but in a position where it doesn't have to go take birth anymore. Because it's happy, it has complete in itself, fullness. Everything is complete and content. So you don't need to go look after some other things to make you happy, because your mind is now very happy. Once your mind is clean from your defilement, from your kilesa, your greed, hate, and delusion. That's what happens when you practice meditation. Vipassana, samatha bhavana, and vipassana bhavana. You're cleaning the mind. But you don't move the mind, you don't change the mind. The mind is still the same. Only it doesn't have any impurity. That's all. No greed, no hate, no delusion.
She is asking if in Nibbana there is only purified mind. So Nibbana is the state when the mind is completely purified.
Yes. Can you repeat the question again, the first part? Can you repeat the question again?
She is asking if Nibbana is the state of the mind when the mind is completely purified. Chitta is completely purified.
That's right. It's like your clothes. When you clean it, it's clean, but it's still there. It doesn't disappear after you finish cleaning it. So too with the mind. The mind is still there. The Buddha still can communicate with us. See? When there was the body, the Buddha purified his mind at the age of 35. But he still lived for another 45 years. And he used this purified mind to teach us the Dhamma.
And one more question. We have been practicing many years in Goenkaji tradition, Vipassana meditation, but most of people cannot go into Appana Samadhi or some like later stages of Samadhi. So we can observe breath like 9-10 hours a day, but still we cannot achieve like high level of Samadhi. What is the best way to practice Samadhi to develop jhanas and Appana Samadhi?
You have to practice more. You have to become a nun or a monk and do nothing else but practice samadhi. Mindfulness first. You have to practice mindfulness all the time, from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. And when you meditate, then your mind will be able to go into calm. You have to devote all your time for meditation practice and mindfulness practice.
And how many hours a day? Like for example, we wake up and the whole day we have mindfulness, and how many hours we should do concentration meditation, like observe our breath? Is it like 15 hours a day or 10 hours?
You do 20 hours a day.
20 hours.
You only sleep for 4 hours a day. The Buddha taught the monk to sleep from 10 to 2 o'clock in the morning. Then at 2 o'clock start meditation until sunrise, then go on arms round and do whatever chores or things you have to do. But you do it with mindfulness. You practice all the time. Even when you do something, you do it with mindfulness. And then when you're free from your work, you don't have to clean, you don't have to eat, then you do some more sitting or walking meditation. If you can do this all the time, your mind will eventually become calmer and calmer. And you'll be able to reach Appana Samadhi, jhana, fourth jhana.
So Appana Samadhi is the same as fourth jhana?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Khanika Samadhi is also fourth jhana, but briefly, just for a few seconds. When you first practice, you'll get a Khanika Samadhi. Your mind will enter into Samadhi of the fourth jhana just briefly, then it will come out. But if you continue to practice your mindfulness and meditation, then you'll start to stay longer when the mind enter into the fourth jhana. Then we call this Appana Samadhi.
And what is Upachara Samadhi?
Upachara Samadhi is the type of samadhi in which when you reach Appana Samadhi, you don't stay there. You start to go and do some sightseeing in the spiritual world. Just if you have this ability to enter into Upachara Samadhi, it means you will have the ability to see the spiritual world, to connect with spiritual beings. This is the type of samadhi the Buddha used when he teaches Dhamma to the spiritual being. But this is not the type of samadhi that will support your enlightenment. So it's better not to get involved with this type of samadhi. And this type of samadhi only happens to very few people. Not everybody who practice will get to this point, this type of samadhi. Usually about 5% of the practitioners who might be able to access this samadhi. If they can access, then they can have psychic power. They can read your mind and my mind, whatever you're thinking right now. Or they can connect with spiritual beings. Or they can recollect past lives. And also somebody said they can fly, they can levitate, and so forth. But this is not essential for enlightenment, and it doesn't get rid of your defilement. Instead, it can be a source of your having more defilement, because you might be deluded to think that you're good now. You have superpower, so you think you are on top of the world, but actually you're still under your defilement. So better not to get involved if you have this ability. Wait until after you become enlightened. Then you can use this type of samadhi to help other people. Okay?
She is asking, when we are not meditating, but for example, talking with other people, how much attention should be directed outwards and how much attention should be always keep inwards to observe our thoughts and sensations?
It's better not to talk at all. If you have to talk, just talk only what you have to talk. Not more than 6 words.
She says when she's working.
Just say yes or no, that's all.
He is asking how to understand if you enter jhana and how to understand which jhana are you in.
It is an experience like eating. When you eat and you become full, you know that you are full. When you reach jhana, you enter into a different type of happiness that you never experienced before. You will know when you get there.
And if we practice like you have explained us, like many hours a day and always keep in mindfulness, does it take years to develop jhanas or months? I understand it differs from person to person, but approximately, like how long should we dedicate to develop our concentration?
The Buddha said if you practice following his teaching, both vipassana and samatha bhavana, you should become enlightened within either 7 days, or 7 months, or 7 years. It depends on your ability. We have different ability to progress. So as long as you keep doing it, you are guaranteed the maximum 7 years, the minimum 7 days. Which one you want, 7 days or 7 years?
Days is better, but depends how it goes.
And
со временем практики медитации я стал более спокойным, уравновешенным. Меня не беспокоят навязчивые мысли, но при этом напряжение какое-то росло. Я постоянно чувствую какое-то физическое напряжение. И как с этим быть?
he says that since he has started to practice meditation, he became more calm and more equanimous. But there is some tension in his body that is growing, like his body is always in stress, and he doesn't know why it happens. So his mind becomes more relaxed, but his body becomes more tense.
Does this happen during meditation or not? Not during meditation.
Во время медитации происходит или не во время медитации? Напряжение в теле.
И во время медитации, но и у меня часть ума всегда наблюдает ощущение в теле, и я чувствую это напряжение, просто присутствует. Сейчас оно тоже есть.
Both during meditation and in ordinary life, like now he also can feel his tension in the body.
That's normal for the body. The body is anicca. It keeps changing. It will get worse and worse. This is the nature of the body. The older you become, you get more pain, you get more sickness. So you have to use vipassana and accept this truth and try not to get involved with it. Just leave it alone. Accept it for what it is. This is what vipassana is about. Accept the changing nature of the body.
Такова природа тела, когда нужно принять изначально природу тела, потом подробно переведем.
And when we practice, do we need to let go everything? Because more than we practice, it becomes hard to hold even one thought, one emotion. Everything is like appearing and disappearing very fast. But in ordinary life, sometimes we need to hold on to some notions, to some thoughts, just to work, to interact with other people. But the more I practice, the more I feel like everything is appearing and disappearing very, very quickly. So there is nothing to hold on to. But how to live a lay life if it's changing so fast?
Well, if you're a lay person, then you have to do what lay people do. If you a monk or a nun, then you do what monk or nun do. So it depends on how much you want to let go. If you want to let go a lot, then you have to become a monk or a nun. But if you still want to hold on to things, to people, then you have to live like you are now. But you have to pay the consequence of holding on to things and people, because they will give you sadness or stress, because they are not reliable. They're not something that you can always reliable or depend on. Yeah.
But for example, we talk to somebody and we somehow offended somebody, and then we meditate and it just lets go from our mind. But how to understand when you need to let go and when you need to try to correct your behavior, like maybe you made some mistake, you come back to change it. Because when we meditate, there is no desire to go back at all, like no past is existing, you are right in the present moment. But doesn't it lead to, making more mistakes when you don't look in the past at all?
The past is already gone. You cannot change the past. What you can do is make sure that you don't repeat the same mistake. But you don't have to go back and rectify and correct the past. It's already gone. Try to not to repeat the same mistakes again. Were you here listening to the Dhamma talk all the time? Or did you just come after?
No, we came at 2 p.m. We were sitting meditating there in the back.
How did you find the condition?
Condition?
I mean the sitting, listening to Dhamma talk. You get any peace or calm from listening?
It was very good environment for meditation, so we were meditating in the back.
Some people, when they meditate alone, they cannot sit for long. But if they sit and listen to Dhamma talk, then they can sit for the whole duration of the Dhamma talk. So by listening to Dhamma talk can help you sit longer also. If you pay attention to what you hear, even though if you might not understand what you hear, just keep listening to the sound. And the sound will then be your meditation object, be your mindfulness object, so that your mind will then be involved with the sound and then absorb and become calm from it also. Okay? Anything else?
Пока мы живем, не заходит возможность получить индивидуальное наставление по практике, будет у него время.
He is asking if might be you can grant us personal interview. He wants to ask some personal questions sometime later, if it's possible while we are staying here.
Unfortunately, I cannot, except in the morning when in the dining hall, like yesterday. But otherwise, one-to-one is not, I don't have enough time to do this, because there are many people who want to ask me personal questions. So I don't have the time for it. I'm sorry. See, what he can do is, he can ask me a question and say it's a question of his friend or somebody else, not himself.
Он говорит, что он лично интервью дать не может, у него просто нет времени, с тобой его тоже сейчас пока нет. И ты можешь задать вопросы здесь, просто говорить, что это не про тебя, а про твоего друга.
He is asking when you have some resistances in the practice, when you're anxious or when you're too tired to practice, and there are some hindrances for your meditation, how to overcome them?
Well, this thing you have to have more time for practice. If you are involved with other things, this other thing can then become a hindrance when you practice. So if you want to reduce these hindrances, you have to reduce your activity with other people.
Тебе нужно поменьше времени проводить с долгими людьми, поменьше вовлекаться в мирские дела, чтобы больше времени было на практику, это может справиться с препятствиями.
Like when you go to a retreat for 7 days, you don't get involved with any body at all. So this type of hindrance doesn't seem to arise.
Говорит, когда на ретрите, допустим, 7 дней, то меньше будет помех, то есть сможешь лучше расти в практике.
Thank you so much. We come tomorrow again.
Okay, good.